Hello and welcome to Understanding Our Emotions, Part 1. My name is Jen and today we're going to talk about emotions. What is an emotion? Do we understand our emotions? Are our emotions and body linked? And are you aware of the emotions you handle well and those that you don't? The definition of emotion is a strong feeling deriving from one's circumstances, moods, or relationship with others. Our emotions, how we feel, and our moods are an important part of the TFB cycle: thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, the basic concept of CBT. And the emotions we feel are all connected to the thoughts we have, our physical reaction in response to these emotions, and the way that we behave. So, how are our emotions and body linked? Reactions in our physical body are closely connected to our emotions. There is a complex relationship between your physical body and your mood. Each influences the other. Sensations in our physical body, such as butterflies in our stomach or tired, heavy limbs, can influence the emotions that we experience. How we interpret our body reactions can also impact the emotions connected with these reactions. So thoughts play a role too. The simple choices we make in our daily life impact our body and emotions in ways we sometimes fail to see. Our daily choices can influence our mood and behavior. For example, choosing to have that extra cup of coffee in the afternoon may result in us getting less sleep and making us more irritable the next day. Body aches and stomach pains are not always the result of an illness or an injury. This can be caused as a result of experiencing our emotions through our body. For example, when we are worried, we often get a knot in the stomach, and these pains can last for days, particularly if the emotion is strong. Some things can make us feel emotions or certain moods. For example, our physical sensations like butterflies in our stomach can make us feel happy or excited. Or something that happens to us, like oversleeping on the big day, can make us feel annoyed and put us in a bad mood for the rest of the day. How we interpret things we see and hear, the emotional mood depends on how we interpret it. How we feel is a complex mix of things, including our physical body reaction and what we think of events. Our mood is the result of events, our thoughts, behaviors, and body reactions. We all engage in hundreds of behaviors each day, and our behaviors include what we do, for example, flying off the handle, fighting with someone, but they also include what we do not do, that is, avoiding someone or something, or not speaking up. And the term behavior can refer to something that is helpful or unhelpful to our mood. So, do we understand our emotions? The functions of our emotions is to help us to survive. When we are scared, the anxiety prepares our body for fight or flight and or freeze, and this helps us to keep safe and survive. Emotions help us to remember people or situations. The emotion of sadness. I remember I watched that film with my mum. It was sad and we cried together. Emotions help us to handle situations in daily life. For example, guilt can motivate us to repair what we have done. Emotions can also help us to communicate with others. The emotion of joy or happiness can motivate us to join in and take part and share. The, Emotions can also help us to seek pleasure. For example, if we have the emotion of excitement, we go out and do something exciting, such as bungee jumping. We have lots of emotions in a day or even an hour, and they can usually be described in one word. For example, sad, happy, excited. And tuning into these emotions allows you to choose a healthy response. For example, a breathing exercise may help with the emotion of anger and calm us down. However, it is when emotions are intense, long lasting, and impact on what you do in an unhelpful way, then you may notice an unwanted impact on your everyday life. So, situations and emotions. How can we help ourselves to handle our emotions better? Stressful situations can trigger emotions, and naming these emotions in your life can be the first step to handling them better. Rating the intensity of the emotion from 1 to 10 can be useful, as this can help you to recognize the differences in the strength of your emotions, and you may become more aware of small changes in your mood. In the Silver Cloud program, we talk about the following emotions and how these emotions can help us to feel. The emotion of happiness, we may feel joyful, excited, content, relieved, or calm. If we're sad, we may feel helpless, ashamed, pensive, depressed, miserable, or lonely. If we're anxious, we may feel terrified, afraid, worried, fearful, and nervous. And if we're feeling angry, we may feel bitter, irritated, annoyed, enraged, envious, or frustrated. The exercise for this week is for you to think about the emotions you handle well and those you do not handle so well. For those emotions that you don't handle so well, reflect on these and ask yourself, is there anything I can change to help me to handle this particular emotion better? Try to start tuning into your emotions by studying your TFB cycle as your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and ask yourself, do I always react to one particular emotion in the same way? Is there anything I can change to help me to handle my emotion better, such as my thoughts, my reaction to the trigger, or my behavior? Following is a hypothetical scenario dealing with the emotion of sadness. And first of all, we're going to look at the TFB cycle, which Becca will put on the screen for us. Thank you. Right, first of all, it's a really good idea if you can learn to visualize this cycle, then when an emotion is triggered, you can identify and picture in your mind where you are on the cycle, and this will help you to work with it and understand what is going on for you. Now, as we see on the cycle in front of us, on the left, we've got the star shape, which is the trigger. And the trigger in this event was not being able to cover my grandchildren for a while due to COVID restrictions. And then that created the thoughts, which is the top of the cycle. And my thoughts were, I am devastated, as my grandchildren mean the world to me. They are a big part of my life on a daily basis. I will be lost without them. So following the cycle round now, to the right, clockwise to the right, we have the circle, which is where your emotions are. And the emotion I feel as a result of this event is sadness. I feel helpless, gloomy, miserable, lonely, and don't know how I'm going to cope. And my intensity of my feelings is very high, and it is 10 out of 10. Following the cycle round now, down to the bottom, we have the physical symptoms caused by this event. So my physical symptoms, I cry a lot. I don't want to eat. I'm not sleeping well. My body aches. I'm lethargic, which leads to self-neglect because I can't be bothered to do anything. And I feel lonely. And I think I'm heading for depression. So my behavior, which is now to the left of the cycle, my behavior, I withdraw. I lock myself away. I ignore the phone and I don't answer the door. This is what I do when I'm sad. I always react like this. And this behavior will lead to more negative thoughts and more negative emotions driving my TFB cycle. I need to break the cycle and something needs to change. Thank you, Becca. That's it for the slide. So this behavior to withdraw can lead to the cycle of inactivity, which Anthea, my colleague, explains in more detail in broadcast 16. So it would be a good idea to tune into that. When I'm feeling sad and withdraw, it's not easy to change my behavior as I'm stuck with my thoughts and I ruminate, that is to overthink. And I turn the same thoughts over and over and over in my head until my head feels as if it's bursting. But I need to apply my CBT skills and remember my thoughts affect my feelings and my feelings affect my behavior. So by changing just one thing can be a turning point to handle this emotion better. So a good way to get going is to follow the 5-minute rule and say to myself, today, instead of going to bed for the afternoon, like I always do when I'm sad because it makes my day shorter, I will go for a walk around the block and it will only take me 5 minutes. It's hard to get going, but as it's only 5 minutes, it makes it easier to do. So let's give it a try. What have I got to lose? So when walking around the block, I will try to be mindful of my surroundings. I will look at the autumnal colours, the varying shades of green and brown, and take time to observe and recognise the beauty of nature. If I see someone, I will say hello. This may lead to a little chat and help me to connect again. In turn, helping to change the emotions driving my TFB cycle, of which during this time of sadness has been driven by negative emotions only. Before I go out for 5 minutes, I will rate the intensity of my emotions from 1 to 10 and repeat this when I get home. So after my walk, I ask myself, has anything changed? Yes, I have connected with someone who was out walking their dog. Was I out longer than 5 minutes? Yes, 20 minutes. The sun was shining, so I have up my vitamin D as well. Do I feel better? Yeah, I'd almost forgotten what it was like to be outside and connect with nature. It is so healing. And then I ask myself, what is the rating of the intensity of my emotions now that I've been out? It is now 6 out of 10, as opposed to 10 out of 10 before my walk. All positives gain from one small change in my behaviour. By taking action and following the 5-minute rule, I have interrupted my negative thinking and broken a cycle of inactivity. As my mood has improved, I am motivated to do this again, and I have now changed my long-standing behaviour in reaction to the emotion of sadness. An emotion prior to this change I did not handle at all well. So it just goes to show that little changes can help massively with your overall well-being. So take it little by little, step by step, and you will notice a difference. Record it in your journal for when you reflect. That's all for today. So thank you for tuning in and see you in a couple of weeks for part 2 of emotions. Until then, take care and stay safe. Thank you.